Imagine that. You have the key to a door that opens a whole galaxy where the here and now are created by you.
In Chapter 1 of the Eurison Mindset, we dive into the essence of your world. Your world is your unique space, shaped by your personal experiences, thoughts, emotions, and the choices you make every day. It's important to understand that your world is yours alone, and it's defined by what brings you pleasure and what causes you pain. Pain is anything that disrupts your happiness, and knowing yourself means recognizing these elements in your life. This chapter also stresses the importance of managing your resources like time, energy, and money wisely. It's about staying in control of your actions and decisions, understanding that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can control how you react. When you interact with others, you're stepping into their worlds, which can bring both challenges and opportunities. The key is to remain the director of your own world, your own movie, your own picture show, ensuring that your actions align with your goal of achieving happiness and minimizing any unnecessary pain.
Your world is a unique combination of environment, relationships, responsibilities, beliefs, and experiences. It includes everything that shapes how you view and interact with life. Understanding your world means recognizing these elements and how they influence your thoughts, decisions, and overall well being. And that's what you put in there. You went further about the resources because our resources are our resources. It's like your time, your energy, your money. And if we think about the people, the relationships, who are the people most important to you? You consider that family, friends, colleagues, and even the acquaintances, just the people that impact our lives. As we look at it through that lens of it's our movie, you are the star. These are the co stars or even the background actors, people that impact your life, but they not major co stars. You probably see them every now and then, they know your name.
They're supporting characters. You have your stars, you have your principal cast, what we call our first team. Then you also have second team, which is like backup to the first team. Then you have your guest characters. Your guest stars are people that pop in and out. And then your supporting cast are people that are always there in your life, your friends that you hang with. Guest stars come and go, they're not constant.
Mm.
If you're watching a TV show, whoever the villain is that week, that's the guest star and the victims of this villain's wrongdoing.
In your world, that's your responsibility. When we talk about pleasure and pain later, you recognize that it's your responsibility to minimize that pain that you feel in your world. That includes that environment that we talked about, going into the right environments that won't bring you those unnecessary pains, this stressful work environment.
Right.
In terms of the relationships, is those people that you want in your world to enhance it and not bring that unnecessary pain. That's our decision. We have to make that discernment to decide who we let in to our world. Just to finish with responsibilities, what are your primary roles and duties? Think about your job, your family obligations, and your personal goals. These will be considered what are the priorities in your life. You think about your ultimate goal, your personal goal, that's the responsibility. For instance, mine is to be fully functional. That's my goal. Everything else goes behind that. In order for me to achieve anything else, I have to be fully functional. So that's why I make that my first goal. We all each have to find our individual primary goal. It depends what your priorities are, what you're willing to sacrifice, what comes first, how you rank them, your Mount Rushmore of motherfuckers that's important to you. Go ahead, what you were going to say?
I was just thinking about what my primary goal is. I think that changes depending on what period of life you're in. At 23, it was one thing to be a Hollywood producer, right? Then at 33, it was something else.
Okay, that may be, but to be fully functional, that one doesn't change. That's a constant. You can't be any of those things if you're not fully functional.
Oh, that's true. I don't know. Are we all walking wounded though?
We all walking wounded. What do you mean?
Meaning that we all have stuff that we feel like we need to be better. And so we're functioning, maybe not at our highest level all the time, but we're doing the best we can every day, even though we're not fully functional yet.
Mm.
I'm just going to say there's a lot of things that I would love to change about myself. I procrastinate too much. I need to self motivate on my exercise better. I need to drink enough water, be more consistent. I have a whole list of things that I
But
know.
that's not your primary goal. If that was your primary goal, that would be the first things you would take care of off of your list. That would be the first thing
Yeah,
before
but
you
it's
even thinking
tricky.
about the outside world, right? So if the goal is to be fully functional, let's say physically and mentally. If I had my hand chopped off, even though other people might have two and I have one, I can still be fully functional. Even though I had this trauma that happened to me, I can still be fully functional.
Right.
And this is not compared to anybody else. It's for me.
So then that's the thing is everyone has a different perspective on what fully functional is and means.
It is, yes, yes. Because it's relative to your world, what you've been through, your experiences, the resources that you have, the curses that I'm just saying, that's how I look at it when I say curse, is those things that happen to certain people, regardless of what decision they make. Like fucked up things just constantly happen to them. You know how they say stay away from the unkind and unlucky. Some people are unlucky. You have to recognize that if it's you or if it's someone else. Because even though I like you, I care about you as a friend, and you might even be my family member. But if I know you constantly getting into these wrecks, some of these wrecks you even in the right, but you constantly get, you think I'm getting in the car with you? I'm not getting in a car with you. I'm gonna drive. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna see how many wrecks you have as a passenger because if it comes along with you, you catching the Uber. I gotta check and make sure. Some people have that put on them. That's an obstacle that they have to deal with. That despite that, you can still be fully functional, despite any handicap that you may have. Again, mentally or physically, is relative to you. That's why it's your world. After the fully functional, I think you have a point where it constantly changes. That's awareness of when change is needed. Sometimes a certain situation may happen to cause you to have a different goal. I think that's adaptability. That's a virtue that could be useful in that situation.
Yeah.
This is the second and last one. Benefits and values. What principles guide your actions? Reflect on your personal philosophy, moral values, and what you consider important in life. What do you think about that one?
Beliefs and values, a lot of that is from how we were raised in those environments into adulthood. That creates our belief system and how the world perceives us as well. In my opinion, it formulates how we believe. I grew up in a household where I went to church every Sunday with my grandmother, and it was Episcopalian, and things were a certain way at her church. And every now and then I go to a Pentecostal church, but it was very much Bible oriented, Christian oriented activity, and that formulated my moral and values compass, right? My moral compass, like
Okay.
right and wrong, 10 Commandments, all that kind of stuff, on what was tried and true. And then my friends that I hung out with, behavior that was considered dignity and what kind of person I wanted to be. My belief system was, I just remember, you don't sleep around with a lot of people because then you'd be called a hoe. But I knew girls who did. I didn't do drugs because my belief system was that was wrong. Whereas other people were experimenting with that kind of stuff when I was in high school. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So do you
So
think that could have been naturally you?
yeah, because of my parents didn't drink or do drugs. They were very
Okay.
square people. My friends, we would drink every now and then. I drank more than my parents did. Let's put it that way. It was introduced to me, but I saw my relatives. My uncle was always drunk. My auntie was always drunk and doing crazy stuff. I saw
Okay.
another uncle who was on crack. Being around that from a kid was like, oh, I don't want to go that route. Not even
Okay.
me seeing other crackheads on the street. And then my friends that I hung around weren't like that either. They weren't interested in drugs. We drank a little bit, but not too much. We liked
Okay.
boys, but we didn't go too far. So as an adult, I'm very much the same way. I'm a homebody. I drink a little bit.
Okay.
So all of those things created this
Right.
belief system that I currently have and what my values are.
I get what you're saying. It's just that point you're making is opposite of what the points you originally made. You said it was religion. So you just name 5 different factors: your friends, your parents, with their experience, your parents' experiences to make them not drink, even a decision you made to look at your aunts and your uncles and say, I do not want to be like that. That's a personal decision, because some kids could look at that and say, ooh, that look fun. Say like a female who grew up in religious. You know how they say the preacher's daughter be the biggest freaks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, different factors plays a role in your belief system, but I also think life experiences plays a part in it, because
Right.
people can experience something and wow, it changed their whole perspective. It goes back to everything that we just talked about, that your whole world could change. The relationships, like one experience, you thought this person would act this way, you thought this person would have your back, but they didn't. You thought this person would call you at least to check on you, but they didn't. And it changed your whole world. Now you might have to push them out, maybe not have them as close. This environment, wow, you thought this church was like this, but you didn't realize all the backstabbing, or you thought this job was a certain way, or this organization was a certain way. So it changes your world once you get new information. And a lot of that is based on what you believe and how you view things. Again, what you consider important in life and what type of pleasures and pain you want to feel. That's all your world. You decide that shit.
I was going to say that, yeah, I started off with religion and me having this Christian faith and background is because I think that was also a through line for my decision making as well. I think it is a part of me. I feel like I'm more spiritual than anything. And I feel like that's what gives me my moral character and my moral
Okay.
fiber in terms of what I do and won't do.
Okay, I could get that. It's different factors. I think if you put all those things we just talked about, if you put the personal philosophies, the moral values, what each person considers important in life, and you add them all up, it's going to be as different as our fingerprints. No one's is going to be the same. So that's why it's each person individual world. I know this is weird, but I like to think about it as we all have our physical world. If you think about the earth, when we say the champions of the world, we're talking about the earth. Alexa, how many galaxies are there?
Here is what I found. From Wikipedia.org, there are at least 2 trillion galaxies in the observable
Wow.
universe.
No, that's galaxies.
In the
Not even talking about
observable,
planets. Right.
observable
Again,
universe.
right.
Wow, that's amazing.
Imagine how many planets are in each galaxy. If each person have their own planet. On this planet, my world, my best friend is dead. But in his world, on his planet, I'm dead. He's alive. I'm dead.
Oh,
Just to think about it like that, that's a weird way to think about it, like some scientific, what's that TV show from, like those type of shows, but from a different perspective, to recognize how this is your world. Everyone else is the co-stars. You are the star. You feel this pain. You feel this pleasure.
wow. That messed my head up today. I don't know why I didn't think of it.
Right.
Wow.
But it's something to think about. And finally, we'll do the last one, experiences. How have your past experiences shaped your current perspective? Consider both positive and challenging experiences. And we just touched on that. One experience can change a person's perspective, change their lives.
That is true.
That's your experiences, your world. And again, nobody feeling pain but you.
When you made that statement, the first thing that came to my mind was working the Olympics and opening and closing ceremonies. And that was such a huge experience for me. Being a part of that and wanting to be someone that could orchestrate that whole thing.
Okay, so you're saying that experience gave you inspiration and contribute to your
Hmm.
goals in life.
Work in the industry, yeah.
Working that industry. Okay, I get that. And it's crazy. One experience could take a person the opposite way. You had one experience, you know what, I'll never do that again.
Yeah,
That experiences, it gives us information. Ultimately, we can use towards our goal.
exactly. It also challenges our belief systems, right?
It could challenge it, it could confirm it, but it definitely contributes to it. And then all of these go into it. One experience with that person, one experience with this environment, it really affects you around. So if your goal is to be fully functional, each experience that we go through, it contributes to that goal. It gives you information towards your goal. through experiences with that person, it gives you information towards this goal. This person is not contributing towards your goal. So what you have to do is make a decision how to deal with this person. Not saying you have to kick them out, but maybe to talk to them. Whatever it is, you have to decide now. But that experience gave you information. Any environment that you're in, one experience, you can really understand and get a better vision of the world that you're in through those experiences. At a job, one experience, like, damn, so it's not really like I thought.
Exactly. A negative experience can definitely change your belief system and alter your world so many ways.
Yeah, even like a younger person in school, they might think this class was easy. You take this one test. Woo, it's not the grade I wanted. Gave me information. Now what I do with that information, realize I have to put a little bit more of my resources, time, energy, effort into studying to pass this motherfucking class.
Yeah.
After reflecting on these components, summarize what you discovered about your world, how these elements work to create your reality that you live in. What aspects of your world are you most proud of? What areas might need improvement? We wish you nothing but blessings.